going to tell you we're doing that. Okay. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Magic Monday. And today is about the energy of crystal shapes. And I've got a nice little screen share for you and a form that I will send as soon as we hang up.
Nice.
Yeah. So this first part is straight from the website, but it'll give us a good outline. A crystalline structure is defined by the repeating arrangement of the atoms throughout the actual crystal. That's why we have so many different shapes and sizes of crystals. The external appearance of the crystal is related to its internal organization. So this is why they have different characteristics. When a crystal's in its raw state or natural, the energy of the crystal is pure. When a crystal is tumbled, polished, or shaped, it changes its energetic influence. We're going to examine today the energy of the crystals in these states, and then we're going to discuss about the different states and the influence and how it can magnify your experience or not. So the 4 states that we're going to talk about are the natural or raw state, tumbled, polished, and those are close but very different. And then there's the carved or shaped. So what I would invite you to do is I have these 7 crystals here. I would invite you to write these down. And then I'm going to talk about shapes. And then when we get to the very bottom, I'm going to have each of us, I'm going to take off the screen share, and then we're all going to work together to really see the goal. Does it enhance the properties of that particular crystal? And then these are the 3 areas that I organized them in. What are they for? What's the best area of influence? Okay. Everybody, I'm going to give you a moment to make sure you finish writing down these. Selenite, 2 different types of quartz, Malachite, Labradorite, Fluorite, and Calcite. A lot of them are similar. So is everybody done? You can say out loud because
Yes.
Everybody's done.
Yep.
Great, 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 great. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is change my view, or no, I'll leave it alone. Let's start with the selenite. Oh, actually, I want to share. This is a great reference. Can everybody see this?
Oh,
This is
Crystal Bible. Yeah.
the Crystal Bible by Judy Hall. She has 2. There's Crystal Bible 1 and Crystal Bible 2. I use her reference because some of it's intuitive, but there's also science. So I like that balance, needless to say. So the first one we're going to do is selenite. So I'm going to share. So this is a piece of raw selenite. You can see the way the formation is. It's really looks like in strands. And selenite is made out of ginseng. And if you, for instance, put it in water, it will dissolve. So that is a raw piece of selenite. And so is this. This is a desert rose, it's called.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what happens, I hope you can see it there. If not, when I stop the screen share, but I think you can. See how it looks like it's got these little bumps on it? Those are the little striations you saw that broke off and then they roll around in the desert. So it's almost like a fossil, but it's in raw state. It's just formed this way naturally. So those are both raw, but in two different states. Now this is a wand, and you can say that it's not only has been polished, right? But it's also been shaped. Okay. All right. So next is quartz. So these are both, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. This one is raw. So basically this particular quartz was broken off of a cluster. And the way I know that is by the bottom, and then that the sides really are rough and it's not polished. And you go, oh, it's not very pretty, but it's in its raw state. Has little bumps all over it. And now this one, a little bit bigger, but the bottom of it also was broken right off of a cluster. And then what did they do, right? They did some shaping, some polishing to make it pretty, if you will. And then this one, gorgeous as it is, it has one side that was polished a little bit, but still has some of its characters. And then the rest of it was shaped and polished. So you can see the difference. It's got a glass-like quality to it. And then I shared this at the beginning, but this is a huge piece of raw quartz, rose quartz. Love, love, love it. It's on my mantle. All I did was went in, broke it off. Here it is. No, nothing's been done to it. And then these three items. So this is a rose quartz worry stone.
Huh.
Okay. This is, and I'm not going to be talking about this, but this is a sacred geometry. And because it's really tonight, the sacred geometry is its own topic. So, and then this is a tower, but it's also called an obelisk because of its particular shape. And it, of course, has been polished and shaped. All right. Okay, so now we want malachite. So these are the tumbled stones. So they are in their basic state, but they just basically took off the rough edges. Different sizes and shapes and chunks. These are just tumbled stones. They're the classic tumbled stone. And then this is definitely a shape. This is a four-sided triangle. Okay. And then we'll come back to, and another piece of, this is raw fluorite. Oh, I went out of order, sorry. But this is raw fluorite. And again, they did the same thing. They took it right out of the ground and nothing's changed. And then this is a heart, a fluorite heart. So very pretty. All right. So this is a piece of Labradorite. So you can see the opalescence quality of it. But here's the cool part about it is the rawness on the backside. So they only polished one part of it. So that's a pretty cool, keeping it somewhat raw. And then this is the whole stone has been shaped and polished in Labradorite. And then calcite, one of my favorites. It's just a piece of, again, a raw calcite. And one of the qualities of calcite is it looks waxy on the surface. And they basically took a chunk of it out of the ground and said, here, that's this one. And then this is also a piece of green calcite, but it's actually pretty unusual because it's fluorescent. So it glows in the dark, but it's a sphere. I keep it in near my altar. Okay. All right, so those are the ones we have. And as we go, I'm just going to go back and bring out the pyramid. You can imagine on this outline here, anchors, directs, and stabilize. So it's a four-sided pyramid, not necessarily a standing triangle, right? But there's the four sides. And so in the shamanic world, I would say, north, south, east, and west, Mother Earth, Father Sky. So it has a lot of stability in it and then a sphere, back to this gorgeous thing. So spheres, what they do and the shape of them radiates. So whatever you have, so we'll talk about calcite itself, and then what would it be radiating as an example. Okay, and towers. So we have, this is a tower, and this is a tower. So these, of course, are standing crystals. This one has been shaped to be a standing, right? And so has this one. And then you have your wands. So this is more of a natural wand because the bottom, you can't stand it. And this is a wand, okay? So this is the raw of the clear quartz, and then this is a shaped selenite wand. All right. All right. So I'm going to stop the share part. All right. Okay. So let's start with selenite. And let's go down to the bottom where I was saying, let's enhance its properties. So I would like this to be interactive with everyone here. So the first part is, what is the property of selenite? What's it do?
Clearing.
Right. And that's because of its chemical makeup of ginseng. Ginseng's
Right.
alkalinic. So it's clearing. All right. Now, if you're looking at enhancing its properties, you're going to do, would it be good for the personal world? So would you wear it on your body?
I haven't worn selenite, but you could.
Right.
Isn't it a little fragile?
Bingo.
Yeah, and you said it dissolves when it gets wet. So if you sweat or
Right. Yeah. So looking at it from that viewpoint, would it be helpful? Would it enhance? There might be a better way to use selenite, right? Instead of wearing it on your body. Unless you wore it, say, on top of a shirt. You want it to be, but again, it's very fragile. So then look at your environment. Would selenite be a good place for that? So I have a piece of raw, I have a wand, and I have my desert rose.
Yeah. I would think it would be.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Totally. So like this is a great thing to place on an altar. The raw is. It's in its pure state. Yeah. You put it there. It's easy to clean because all you have to do is put it in the sun. Like put it on a windowsill for 24 hours or in the moon, right? That's another great way to cleanse it. You don't have to run it underwater. This is another, I put this on top of my table. And every day when I'm done working, well, not right now, but when I'm done in the physical world, I put this on the table because it's selenite and it clears.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the wand I use a lot in distant work because you can clear the auras. You could actually use it to clear the auras because the third area is healing. So could you use it for healing work on yourself? Could you use it for healing work on others? Yes, right? You know, you can use this as a sweep. It self-clears. So does that all make sense to everybody?
Oh.
Good.
Mhm.
All right. Any questions about selenite? Great. Okay, so now we're into clear quartz.
Does it matter if you leave your crystals and selenite in this case in a window? So it's constantly getting sunlight and or moonlight. Does that have an effect?
Well, my question would be why? And is that the job you're asking it to do? Right. Well, is it the job though that you're wanting it to do? Because they are easily programmed, right?
True.
So, is that what you want it to do? When I very consciously say to okay, today we're going to clear chakras. So get ready. That's basically what I say. And then I put them either in salt water or they're sitting out on my deck because what I want them to do is, especially clear quartz, magnifies. That's what it does. It amplifies and magnifies. So if that's what I'm asking it to do in the raw state, that means I've got a really good, it's ready. It's like I got a nice battery here. And this one would do the same thing, right? Because part of it is still raw. So it would also work well, but I may have to, hold it in my hand a little longer before I use it in a session, if you will. Thinking about that. Or do I want it to would it sit if I gave it a little crystal pillow and then use it in my environment? So that's the kind of things you want to look at. Okay, personal. Well, would you carry that in your pocket? Maybe, maybe not, right? What do I want to amplify in my pocket? So you want to think about that, right?
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, well, maybe I don't want to put clear quartz in my pocket. Do I want it in my environment?
Yes.
Yeah. So where you place it in the pattern of feng shui becomes a really important possibility. It's like, where would I want to amplify? Do I want to amplify my wealth corner? Do I want to amplify my love corner? Do I want to amplify so that it's a really, like this one here, it's on my desk. So I want to amplify, and because it's really clear, I can actually use it when I meditate, because I want to amplify. If one of my practices is bodhisattva, which is compassionate heart. So I want to amplify that. So you get see how you can look at it through. Do I want to wear it on my body? Maybe, maybe not. Do I want to put it in my environment? It amplifies. Depends upon where you're going to put it in your environment. If there's chaos going on in your house, that may not be the right one to be there, but is it in the place of maybe sleeping, maybe like for me, it's like where I'm creating, where I'm trying to help people, where I'm teaching. I want to amplify that. So those are the three things that you would do. And then the other is the healing. So if you're amplifying, let's say the person's asking for a clearing, then I might want to use my wand here to amplify the clearing.
Can it also, to getting back to wearing it on your body or in your pocket, would you wear it in your pocket with, let's say, amethyst or rose quartz to amplify the properties of the other gemstone?
Sure, you could do that. Yeah.
Do you like doing that, or is it more intent? Just whatever you intend is what it will amplify.
It's going to amplify whatever your primary charge is. So, you know, if you're having a worry day, it's going to amplify worry. If you wore it, you know, or used, you know, the amethyst and the clear quartz during a meditation, and you're amplifying gratitude, you know, so it really is, because that's the quartz, clear quartz amplifies whatever's going on. So if, you know, one of the instructors many years ago said, if you're having a bad day, don't pick up your quartz. Don't pick it up. I was like, okay.
And so there is a difference between the clear versus the cloudy quartz?
Each one of them does have somewhat. I'm going to talk a little bit about rose. So
Yeah.
the answer is yes, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Right.
So I use the smoky quartz more for EMF, electromagnetic. It's a really great, because of its charge, what causes that smokiness, I use it for that. So yes. So rose quartz. So this way here, the raw one, right? The pretty raw one. This is on my mantle in my living room. And what I'm wanting, I use it feng shui wise, it's magnifying my environment. So what would be a fireplace be like? It would be home and hearth, the warmth, the nurturing. So when I placed it there, that was exactly what I said. Please magnify home and hearth. Really very intentionally put it there for that. So that was how I would put it in the environment. So would you look at, like this is a worry stone. You could totally put that in your pocket, right?
But
So
that
that-
one, it wouldn't amplify the worry.
Well, the idea of the rose quartz is all about love. So yes, it's going to amplify, but what you're wanting to amplify is the quality of the stone, because that's the first thing, right? And then the second part is, what is it that you want this to do? You want the love to help balance
Okay.
the, you know, what's going on in the world for you. So that's personal. So you can wear it, right? Rose quartz. You see a lot of rose quartz jewelry and things of that sort. So there's that environment. And can you use it in healing?
Yes.
Of course, right?
Take that and put it on you.
Yeah, you can put it all over you. You can, whatever you need to do, because what you're wanting to do is amplify the love, especially when you place it with that intention. Okay. So that, then we're at malachite. Malachite is a very powerful stone because it is called the healer stone. So why would in the world would it be powerful and be called the healer stone? What would that mean? Any ideas? Okay.
I think you have to ask the question differently.
Well, the key piece is that the healer is going to amplify or magnify both the light and the dark. Because true healing is a balance. So that means it's very powerful. So when you wear it, you want to be mindful because it's going to create balance, which is fantastic, but it doesn't mean that it, you might not have a tear or two, and it might, you see what I'm saying? It's like when you're looking at healing, it can be messy. So when you wear or you use malachite, you want to be very mindful that it is a healer stone. It is healing, but many times we forget that healing can be a little sloppy. And I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean healing's not always easy or pretty, right? So it's being very mindful about how you use this particular stone, because the color green, what do we associate with the color green?
Heart.
Healing
The
and
heart chakra. Yeah.
Yeah, heart, healing, chakra. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So, putting those tumbled stones in your pocket, fantastic, right? So you could wear it on your body and you could have it in your environment, right? Especially if you're wanting to heal something. Maybe you have a relationship that you want to heal. You could put this in front of it, right? You could facilitate the healing of whatever is going on. And then, of course, needless to say, it's very powerful in for yourself, as well as, when you're working with somebody, if you've got a healing practice. The key piece, again, for whether you're using it on yourself or using it on others, is you want to be mindful what the dose is. How much do you use for that person? So this is where I would recommend you douse, as an example. Okay?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite stones. So I get it. Labradorite. So Labradorite is light. And you can imagine the reason why its property is light is because of the opalescence quality that you see. It's very refractory. Oh, I like how that looks on the video. It's very pretty. But that's the key, is that it brings in the light, or it is a light bringer. So you look at, can you wear it on your personal body? Sure. And would you like to have it in your environment?
Sure.
Absolutely, right? More light, more light, more light. And then, would it be good for healing? Mm-hmm.
Would think so, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So even though this is different than the malachite, this is going to bring in light, doesn't necessarily talk about balance like the malachite does. Malachite's going to bring in the healing energies that are needed, right? So you want to just be mindful that the person, if, like when I use this, I'm very mindful of the dose, because light, we only have so much capacity as a human being's body. Our cells can only take in so much. Same thing with why this particular topic is a lot of fun, is because it does change the quality of it, but does it change it in a way that you can't use it? Well, no. This is a fantastic stone, and it helps bring in the light. You just be mindful of the dose, or it's a great one for the palm of your hand. So if you're meditating, things of that sort. Okay. All right. All right. Fluorite. What's fluorite do? Change. That's its job. That's what it does. It brings in change. So would you wear fluorite on your body?
B?
Yeah, sure. And would you bring it into your environment?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the place where you want to invite the most change might be the place where you want to, maybe, the kitchen is the place. Or maybe it's your meditation, or maybe it's sleeping, or maybe you can look at it and then, you can get different shapes of it. It's a really beautiful stone. So you can wear it on your body. You can bring it into your environment.
So if you bring it into your environment and you want change, so you move, aren't you kind of playing with fire if you're bringing it into your environment?
It depends upon what you're asking for in the change world.
Right.
Are you just asking for, things to be easier? So, we're not talking about grids tonight, but would you use the grid and then put a piece of fluorite in the middle of it to amplify the change that you're looking for? Maybe it's about right relationship. Maybe it's about right living situation. Maybe it's about a financial piece of it. I mean, there's a lot of different varieties of what you're doing with it, but I would agree with you. I would be very mindful about how I use it. And so, as you go through this, it's like using the stone and having this really nice relationship of how you use it. I know. I mean, I know that when I first started collecting stones, I didn't think any of that. But of course, they started talking to me and I'm like, oops, maybe I should move you. And then the last one I have is the
No, we're gonna move you.
basically, that's what they said if it was a fluorite. And calcite, what's calcite do?
Huh.
Isn't that mental stimulation?
It is a clearer, yeah.
Clearer.
It does
Grounding?
stimulate and so if you're using calcite and a sphere, so stimulating and radiating. Right. So you're amplifying both qualities there, right? With using a calcite. So would you use calcite for personal?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Why not? And then would you use it in your environment?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Again, you're like, where would I put that? So I have it on, this particular one is around my altar because I want it to radiate, right? And clear that. And healing. Would you use calcite for healing for yourself or for others?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a calcite chakra set as an example.
Cool.
And so they're different colors to amplify each one of the chakras. It's fantastic. And then it's a very different energy than a clear quartz set. So you can get an idea. Usually I douse it, which is for the highest good of the person. Sometimes people need a balancing. Sometimes they need just an amplification. So that is. So now questions, comments, other things you would like to talk about?
I have a question.
Yes.
So with your altar, how often do you change things out? There's so many stones. Do you change it once in a while? Do you just leave this pretty much the same stones there, or some representation of a certain set that's meaningful to you? How do you decide what to keep there?
Well, I hear them. They tell me. I say, or it's time to clean. But I actually only have 4 stones around my altar, and they are like the 4 guardians, if you will.
Okay, good.
I have a Labradorite. I have this Calcite. I have a green onyx rosary that
Oh.
my parents gave me, but they're not really sure what country it came from, but it's like 4 feet tall. It's a massive, but it just has an incredible energy. And then I have a red onyx egg. And they are I call them the 4 guardians.
Thank you. That's very helpful. And I also want to thank everybody for the questions that they were asking. That's so awesome. Those are some of the questions I have. But another one is, I've seen it's like the rage to put these crystals in water, like they're almost like a water tumbler. What do you think about that? Like some of them are directly in water, and some of them are like in a kind of a vessel that goes inside the water, so it's not really touching the water.
So some of the because of the chemicals that make them what they are, it can change them if you put them in water for an extended period of time. They can actually mold. So my clear quartz are usually in I have a very large, thick plastic bowl with just a little bit of salt to keep them clear and in neutral. Right now, because I'm not seeing people in person, I'm only doing distant work, they actually sit outside in the elements and they're just so very happy. They were very glad to come in and play tonight. You know, when I went over, I'm like, okay, who wants to come to class? So but the key piece is you want to clear them if they're working. So mine are a working group of, and then like my altar, there are times when it's,
People are actually,
go ahead.
drinking the water. That's what I was saying. Like people are drinking
Yeah,
the water that is.
I missed some of what you said.
Okay.
But solarized
I
water,
was just
crystal gemstone water, those elixirs, absolutely. There are multiple books out there on gemstone water, and you just want to be very mindful of, because the chemicals that make, like hematite has iron ore in it. You don't want to be drinking that water, for instance. And so it's there, but the gemstone, you can literally put that in. You can say Labradorite water, and it'll tell you whether that's good for you or not.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. That was a good question.
What about malachite, Cindy? Because it has copper in it. It has
Exactly.
a concentration of copper.
Yeah,
You wouldn't drink that?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, even if you wear it, better it not be on the skin.
Right. So you just knowing the chemistry of it makes you aware that, like, selenite's fragile. So can you wear it on you? Yes, but would you put it on top of a clothing? Malachite, another example. You know, this is a clear quartz, so that's fine to be against the skin, right?
So I've heard that you can clear crystals by blowing on them. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if anybody has taken Reiki,
Yeah.
and you learned how to do the violet breath,
Yeah.
that's a form of clearing the quartz crystals. If you've ever been trained in any kind of shamanic, again, there's another technique to clear the crystals through that piece of it. If you have Reiki as as a skill set, you can do the Reiki breath. That's one of the Japanese Reiki techniques. And then you can clear it with that intention. So there's a lot of different ways to clear. You can use the water, you can use salt, you can use sun, you can use moon, and you can just do the intention.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But the key piece is like, I'm intending on clearing this crystal by using this.
Okay,
Yeah, good question.
good.
What do you think about the effect of imperfections? Like, let's say your pyramid had the point wasn't a perfect point. It had like been cut off. Does that affect it? And
Mm.
and
So-
then like for crystal points, sometimes if you're a healer and you're pointing exactly, and if the point's been
Right.
cut off.
So there's two answers. The first one is if it has been man-made, then it's already been changed.
Mm.
Right? Makes perfect sense. If it's a natural, I would trust the wisdom of that stone because it knows what it's supposed to be shaped like, so, and I have a whole bunch of different ones. I have a pendulum that is selenite, and it has it's got a little chip out of the side of it. It just chipped naturally, right? Because it's formed. And I of course pick it up and go, are you supposed to still work? And it goes, yes. I'm like, okay, I believe you. But it's that kind of just trusting the wisdom of the stone, but also knowing what its inherent properties are supposed to be. And then did the shape magnify that? Or is it influencing it in a different way? So it's really just paying attention. And I tend to douse everything. So when I'm setting up a session for somebody, so doing the healing work, or if I'm doing something for myself, I'm also, okay, what's the highest good for today? What should I wear today? What would be, oh, they're going to like to see this Andara crystal. Okay, Andara crystal, you get to come to class, So it's really look, and then my environment, I feng shui, I do every room in my house as well as the way the house is laid out. And I'm a minimalist when it comes to decorating because I like the energy to flow. So you get to make choices. And so I hope that was helpful, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question. Before I learned Reiki and any energy work, I was in Sedona and I bought a bunch of crystals because they were pretty.
They are pretty.
And sometimes they'll have a little description and, so I had this handful of crystals. I put them in an antique bowl, and when I do my Reiki, because I do a lot of distance with animals, when I do that, I have my little bowl of crystals there. But, now that, learning some of this stuff, is my intention for these to be good? It will be good. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm like, when you mix them together, is there any downside?
So again, the more you know, the clearer your energy can be. So if you have a whole bunch of different crystals, they're all informing the situation, which it's not bad.
Okay.
It's just a lot of energy. So it's like, what kind of signature do you want to have?
Okay.
Does that help a little bit?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I have a bunch of different ones that I use for healing work, and sometimes they trade out. I think that you asked this, one of you guys asked the question, I'm sorry. It's like, okay, I'm cleaning my office. Who's taking a break? Who's going to have a bath? who's going to hang out outside, who's done, who wants to be buried in my backyard, because they can be done and it's okay. And it's like, I think, Wendy, you were the one that asked about the point, if it was broken. If something breaks, then I usually check. I'll douse it and say, is your time complete? So, I honor the fact that the crystal's life is done. And so I have quite a few crystals that I crush up and put in my beds. So they, my beds have that beautiful energy disseminated among the flowers, and
Thanks.
they're still hanging around. I have all my peeps.
When that happens, do you ask, are you done, or are you ready to move to somebody else?
Oh, I do that too. I give away, all kinds of different stones and pendulums and I'll call somebody or text somebody and say, I keep hearing your name when I pick up this particular thing or stone or whatever. How about if I give this to you? And it can be anything, a book. So it's like, I just listen to whatever, if it's not supposed to be with me and I was just the paver on its journey, right?
Can you ask a crystal in a pinch to take on the quality of another crystal?
I would say maybe like a clear quartz.
Yeah,
You could probably do that, but to ask a rose quartz to be an amethyst,
yeah, no,
that might be a little harder just because of its chemistry.
right.
The clear quartz, not only its atomic molecular structure is made to amplify. So if you said, I really need this as well as your magnification skill, you could probably do that. But most of the time I would just say, okay, I would pretend I have an amethyst thing that I need. Here it is. Right? Because the mind and reality doesn't know the difference. Because if I think it's so, here it is, it's there.
Neat.
I know. Joe Dispenza says that in what's the Secret, I think it is. Dr. Dispenza says that. Oh, very cool.
I was taught to take the piece of selenite I have, which I think I have with me,
Mhm.
and just like stand up and put it up and down my body and my energy field. It feels really good.
Right. Well, it's Jimson, so it's going to absorb anything that is acidic or a negative charge. So it's an
Oh, wow.
alkaline. So it's physics and chemistry. It works. And that's one of its beautiful qualities. So that's good.
Yeah, I like to carry them with me every day too.
And the key piece is you're mindful about that. So it's like, oh, this one's been with me for 6 weeks. Maybe I should give it a day off.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Cool.
well, I want to thank you guys. This has been, does anybody have any other questions before I
I have a quick one, Cindy. Is you mentioned speaking to the crystals or them speaking to you. Is there something that you can advise, like a book that you enjoy that talks more about that, or somebody that you admire who has that ability as well, that we can look into deeper? Because I think that's really neat that you hear them.
Well, I mean, I teach
Or
intuitive
maybe you could
classes.
do another. I was going to say, maybe I could. Yeah, I just need to know what to come and take and understand more about it. So that's good to know that you do teach the classes for that.
Yeah, I would actually, on the YouTube channel for Healing My Center, all of the Magic Mondays for the last however many months we've been doing them are all
Oh.
there. And there's one on intuition.
Okay.
And I would
Ah.
recommend that. That would be a good place to start. And
Okay.
And then that way,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. No, that's good. Yeah, so I want to thank you guys because this is the last one until
Thank you
2021.
very much.
And that sounds so strange, but if you have requests of topics that I haven't done and you would love, please send me an email. That'll help me get my 2021 list put together. This is for us as humans, but also for animals, because I love doing them and it's a fun thing to do. Yeah, because for 2021, I have basically a Reiki 2 class on Saturday, and I have the basic animal Reiki class in December.
Oh, neat.
So, you know, it's just a morning class. It's 9 to 12. And then if you've done Reiki, that's how you get to take that class. You got to have that basic level 1 and 2. And then you do a video that shows giving an animal Reiki, then I can send you a certification. So those are my fun things that I'm doing for the rest of 2020. Besides having a birthday, an anniversary, Thanksgiving, and the holidays. That's it.
Not too packed of a schedule.
Thank you,
Nice.
Wanda.
No, all of that's supposed to be fun, just like you guys. And I know life gets really busy. So thanks, everybody. I love
Thank
it.
you
It's
Thanks
so
awesome.
much.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye,
Nice
guys.
to see you,
Happy holidays.
everybody.
Halloween.
Bye.
Thank
Ah,
you, thank you.
here we go.